wake up and drink some coffee before we all die. It is May 7th, 2025. I am John, a Technocrat. Please consider buying me a coffee. This is part 2 on my videos that I'm doing to talk about the Wuhan Virology Institute and COVID, the pandemic that happened. In here, I'm still not going to talk too much about the actual institute. The primary thing I want to talk about in this video is the fact that studying, viruses and researching viruses is something that is incredibly dangerous. Something people may not realize, or maybe they do, I would think they should, is that the Wuhan Virology Institute was not the leading, most advanced, virology research laboratory in the world. There are a lot of very advanced research laboratories around the world. All of them pose a real risk because they're dealing with something that can be extraordinarily dangerous if some mistake happens with it. One of the problems with the Wuhan Virology Institute is that they had a poor safety record. They tended to have about 20 times more, safety incidents than a comparable research institute in Europe, which is, that's really significant. Viruses can be extraordinarily dangerous as we learn and master the technology behind how viruses work so that we can make them as we want and use them as we can. That's a tremendous power. It's the underlying power that's going to be behind our nanotechnology. And that's going to give us the ability to do truly incredible things. And power, as normal, power can be used for good or bad or neutral purposes. This is something you should understand. Science, what science is learning the rules of nature. How does nature work? What are the laws of nature? And science is about learning what are those laws. Technology is about taking the science that we've learned about how those laws of nature work and using the laws of nature to do things within nature to achieve goals that we want to achieve. The same is true about virology. So we want to learn and understand what are the laws of nature around how viruses work. And when we learn them, then we can use that knowledge in our technology. And then we will have the power to use, that to achieve things that we want to achieve. Anyway, one of the dangers that we have in terms of researching it is having accidental releases. One of the dangers is having bad actors develop something that we don't want them to develop, using it as a weapon. We certainly should not be trying to make, virus-based weapons. But at the same time, if somebody does develop virus-based weapons, if you don't understand the technology, you will not be able to defend yourself against somebody who does know how to use the technology. Because this is such a potentially dangerous research, the safety around such research should be very strict. And normally within the best laboratories where they research the most dangerous viruses, they have really good safety procedures. Now, I think that one of the things, in my opinion, that we should probably do is take the really in-depth, harder core research that is more dangerous, but that we still need to do, and move it into space, move it onto the moon. It's a little too hard for us to do that yet, but we could move it to the Antarctic. Let's say you build an international research station in the Antarctic where you can research the most dangerous areas of virology that we need to gain knowledge about. And you can do it under conditions that are cooperative with other nations to make sure that as we're doing this, that we're not using this to develop weapons about. We're using it to gain the knowledge to help humanity instead of hurting humanity. Eventually, when we start actually building a base on the moon, for example, which we should do, then we should move that research to the moon. That way, at least if you're in the Antarctic and you have an outbreak, it's going to be a lot harder for it to get out and back to or into the rest of the world. You can develop procedures so that somebody who's going into the research institute has to take a period of 2 or 4 weeks just to get in, make sure they're through any incubation period, and the same when they're coming out. They have to go through these locks that they would so that if they have something, it's going to develop and we're going to see it before they come out and go back into the world. And if there's any small escape from the laboratory, it's going to go out and freeze. So it's not going very far. It would still be better if you were on the lunar surface. Even just getting there, you'd clearly go through this period of time of incubating anything you might have on the way there or on the way back in order to ensure you don't have anything that's going to create a pandemic. Nonetheless, despite the dangers, is something that we have to develop. And somebody is going to develop it. And if you don't develop it, you're not going to be able to defend yourself against somebody who does know the technology. Anyway, so that's it on this part.